for teenagers.
Senator,
and yet you keep right on doing what you're doing. Right?
That's not true. That's not true.
Let me show you some other facts I know that you're familiar with. Wait a minute. That's not a question. That's not a question. Those are facts, Mr. Zuckerberg. That's not a question.
Those aren't facts.
Let me show you some more facts. Here's some information from a whistleblower who came before the Senate, testified under oath in public. He worked for you. It's a senior executive. Here's what he showed he found when he studied your products. So, for example, this is girls between the ages of 13 and 15 years old. 37% of them reported that they had been exposed to nudity on the platform unwanted in the last 7 days. 24% said that they had experienced unwanted sexual advances they'd been propositioned in the last 7 days. 17% said they had encountered self-harm content pushed at them in the last...
Saw that clip, and I know your jaw is probably on the floor right now because mine was the first time I watched this. What you just witnessed is Senator Josh Hawley doing something that almost never happens in Washington. He walked into that room completely prepared, completely unbothered, and he did not let Mark Zuckerberg off the hook for a single second. And here's what got me. Zuckerberg sat there, one of the richest men on the planet, and tried to tell a United States senator that there's no proven link between social media and mental health damage in teenagers. He said that out loud, under oath, while families who lost their children to his platform were sitting right behind him. The audacity is genuinely staggering. And Senator Hawley saw right through it. Now I want you to watch the full video because it gets even more intense from here. When you come back, I've got a lot to say because this is bigger than politics and bigger than meta. This is about whether powerful people ever truly face consequences. So go ahead and watch. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and let me know in the comments whose side are you on. I want to see what you think before I give you the rest of my take. So now you've seen the whole thing, and...
Open, but I'll turn over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Zuckerberg, let me start with you. Did I hear you say in your opening statement that there's no link between mental health and social media use?
Senator, what I said is I think it's important to look at the science. I know people widely talk about this as if that is something that's already been proven, and I think that the bulk of the scientific evidence does not support that.
Well, really, let me just remind you of some of the science from your own company. Instagram studied the effect of your platform on teenagers. Let me just read you some quotes from the Wall Street Journal's report on this. Company researchers found that Instagram is harmful for a sizable percentage of teenagers, most notably teenage girls. Here's a quote from your own study. Quote, "We make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls." Here's another quote. "Teens blamed Instagram," this is your study, "for increases in the rate of anxiety and depression. This reaction was unprompted and consistent across all groups." That's your study.
Senator, we try to understand the feedback and how people feel about the services. We can improve.
Wait a minute. Your own study says that you make life worse for 1 in 3 teenage girls. You increase anxiety and depression. That's what it says. And you're here testifying to us in public that there's no link. You've been doing this for years. For years, you've been coming in public and testifying under oath that there's absolutely no link. Your product is wonderful. The science is nascent, full speed ahead, while internally you know full well your product is a disaster for teenagers.
Senator,
and yet you keep right on doing what you're doing. Right?
That's not true. That's not true.
Let me show you some other facts I know that you're familiar with. Wait a minute. That's not a question. That's not a question. Those are facts, Mr. Zuckerberg. That's not a question.
Those aren't facts.
Let me show you some more facts. Here's some information from a whistleblower who came before the Senate, testified under oath in public. He worked for you. It's a senior executive. Here's what he showed he found when he studied your products. So, for example, this is girls between the ages of 13 and 15 years old. 37% of them reported that they had been exposed to nudity on the platform unwanted in the last 7 days. 24% said that they had experienced unwanted sexual advances they'd been propositioned in the last 7 days. 17% said they had encountered self-harm content pushed at them in the last 7 days. Now, I know you're familiar with these stats because he sent you an email where he lined it all out. I mean, we've got a copy of it right here. My question is, who did you fire for this? Who got fired because of that?
Senator, we study all of this because it's important and we want to improve our services.
Well, you just told
And
me
I
a
think
second
that
ago
the-
you studied it, that there was no linkage. Who did
Senator,
you fire?
I said you mischaracterized.
37% of teenage girls between 13 and 15 were exposed to unwanted nudity in a week on Instagram. You knew about it. Who did you fire?
Senator, this is why we're building all
Who
these
did you
different
fire?
tools. Senator, I don't think that's.
Who did you fire?
I'm not going to answer that. Because
Because you didn't fire anybody, right? You didn't take any
Senator,
significant
I don't think
action.
it's appropriate to talk about like
It's not
individual
appropriate.
HR decisions.
Do you know who's sitting behind you? You've got families from across the nation whose children are either severely harmed or gone, and you don't think it's appropriate to talk about steps that you took? The fact that you didn't fire a single
happy
person?
to-
Let me
I'm
ask
happy
you
to
this.
talk
Let me
about
ask you
steps
this.
that we took.
Have you
If you'd like me to
compensated
speak.
any of the victims?
Sorry,
Have you compensated any of the victims? These girls, have you compensated them?
I don't believe so.
Why not? Don't you think they deserve some compensation for what your platform has done? Help with
Senator-
counseling services, help with dealing with the issues that your services caused?
Our job is to make sure that we build tools to help keep people safe.
Are you
across
going
our
to
platform.
compensate them?
Senator, our job and what we take seriously is making sure that we build industry-leading tools to find harmful
make
content,
money.
take it off the services,
To make money.
and to build tools that empower parents.
So you
that
didn't
help
take
work with
any
law.
action. You didn't
That's
take
not
any
true,
action. You
Senator.
didn't fire anybody. You haven't
not true.
compensated a
That's
single
not-
victim.
that's
Let
not
me
what I
ask you
said.
this. Let me ask you this. There's families of victims here today. Have you apologized to the victims? Would you like to do so now?
Well-
They're here. You're on national television. Would you like now to apologize to the victims who have been harmed by your product? Show them the pictures. Would you like to apologize for what you've done to these good people?
I'm sorry for everything that you have all gone through. It's terrible. No one should have to go through the things that your families have suffered. And this is why we invest so much and are going to continue doing industry-leading efforts to make sure that no one has to go through the types of things that your families have had to suffer.
You know, why, Mr. Zuckerberg, why should your company
Okay,
not
so
be
you just-
sued for this? Why is it that you can claim, you hide behind a liability shield, you can't be held accountable? Shouldn't you be held accountable personally? Will you take personal responsibility?
Senator, I think I've already answered this. I mean, these
Well,
are
try this
serious
again.
issues.
Will you take personal responsibility?
Senator, I view my job and the job of our company as building the best tools that we can to keep our community safe.
Well, you're failing at
and
that.
Well, Senator, we're doing an industry-leading effort. We build AI
Oh,
tools that
nonsense. Your product is killing people. Will you personally commit to compensating the victims? You're a billionaire. Will you commit to compensating the victims? Will you set up a compensation fund with
Senator,
your
I
money?
think these are
With your money.
complicated- Senator, these are complicated
Yes, no,
issues.
that's not a complicated question, though. That's a
Senator,
yes or no.
this is-
Will you set up a victims' compensation fund with your money, the money you made on these families sitting behind you? Yes or no?
Senator, I don't think that's my job is to
Sounds
make sure
like a
that we build
no.
good tools. My
Sounds
job
like a
is
no.
to make sure that
Your job is to be responsible for what your company has done. You've made billions of dollars on the people sitting behind them. Are you here? You've done nothing to help them. You've done nothing to compensate them. You've done nothing to put it right. You could do so here today, and you should. You should, Mr. Zuckerberg.
I just need to take a second. Because what Senator Hawley did in that room deserves a lot of respect, regardless of where you stand politically. Let me break down exactly why. First, the preparation. Hawley didn't walk in with vague talking points. He walked in with Meta's own internal research. He had the Wall Street Journal reporting. He had the whistleblower's email sent directly to Zuckerberg himself. He used Zuckerberg's own company's work to expose him, and there was nowhere to hide. What does Zuckerberg do? The classic corporate pivot. We study these things to improve our services. As if commissioning a study and doing nothing about it is somehow a defense. Knowing that 37% of girls aged 13 to 15 were exposed to unwanted nudity in a single week on your platform and keeping it running the exact same way is not fine. It is nowhere close to fine. The moment that really got me was when Hawley made Zuckerberg acknowledge the family sitting behind him. Because that hearing could easily have become another round of political theater, another tech CEO dodging questions, everyone goes home, nothing changes. Those families made it real, and Hawley made sure Zuckerberg couldn't ignore them. Then the apology. Did you notice how he said it? I'm sorry for everything you've gone through, and then straight back to talking about industry-leading tools and investments. That is not an apology. That is a liability managed statement. A real apology comes with action, and Senator Hawley called that out directly. The compensation fund question was the one that really showed you who Zuckerberg is. Hawley gave him every opportunity. You're a billionaire. These families are right behind you. Yes or no? Will you compensate them? And Zuckerberg couldn't do it. Because the moment he says yes, he's admitting responsibility, and that's exactly what all the lawyers and PR teams and liability shields are designed to prevent. That is the core of what this hearing exposed. It's not just about Instagram. It's about a system where people who build products that damage lives can hide behind legal protections, dodge accountability, and keep making billions while families bury their children. Whatever you think of Hawley politically, he went in there and fought for those families. He did his homework, stayed relentless, and didn't get distracted by the corporate deflections. And he made sure Zuckerberg had to look those families in the eye on national television. That matters, and it should happen a lot more often. Let me know in the comments, do you think anything actually changes after hearings like this? Or does Zuckerberg walk out, get on his jet, and nothing moves? I genuinely go back and forth on that, and I want to hear your take. If this video hit home, share it because more people need to see what real accountability looks like. See you in the next one.